Welcome back to the Puma Podcast. I'm Tory.
Hey, and I am Puma.
And friends, what do we do on this podcast?
We talk about Jesus, life, and everything in between.
Yeah, nailed it. Absolutely.
Which is pretty much covers all life.
Yeah, everything is pretty, comprehensive. That's great. Guys, we are in our Real Love series, going through 1 Corinthians 13 and really highlighting just not all the verses, but some of the key ones which really call for application and help us, I think, see how we can love God's way, not our way.
So today we're going to talk about the Stego way.
The Stego way.
The Stego way.
Yes, keep calm and love the Stego way.
Love the Stego way.
In college, it's kind of a weird word, but in college for our class, this word really jumped out to me and really transformed my view of relationships. And so we made a class t-shirt that just said, keep calm and love the Stego way. And it's a hard way. It's not an easy way to love, but it's a better way. And if we can learn to love the Stego way, I'm convinced not just our relationships, but our entire dynamics, our environment would change. If we all could learn to love the Stego way.
We need to learn to love the Stego way.
The Stego way.
So what is the Stego way?
Let's talk about
Let's find out.
All right, the Stego way, Puma. Stego.
Stego.
What does that word mean? What in English?
That is not an English word. Stego.
Yeah,
it's a Greek word, and it's this idea of like protection, of like bearing the load for someone else, so that they're okay. Yeah. So the idea, suppose like something heavy is falling on someone, so you jump in there and you protect them by kind of bearing the load so they can, get to safety. Basically, the Stego way, like really kind of giving yourself to protect, and care for somebody. So learn to love the Stego way.
Stego way.
So it comes from 1 Corinthians 13. Verse 7 says that love. Some translations always like love protects. It's love always protects. So.
1 Corinthians 13:7. Love always protects. Yeah. Not sometimes. If you want to love God's way, this needs to be something you always do.
Yeah. So to love the Stego way, that is the Jesus way.
It is.
Jesus always loved people and loved those closest to him by protecting them. Mm-hmm. And protecting has a lot of different nuances to it.
Yeah. Protecting is such a. I mean, when I first read this verse many years ago, I'm like, oh, okay. So if someone's being bullied and picking a fight, I don't know why fights were always kind of like my go-to action.
You know what, Tori? That has been the nature of your life. You just kind of turn around and people want to punch you.
Oh man, yeah. So last episode was wild, but but when I think of protection, I think physical protection. Oh, I'm gonna stand in the gap. I'm gonna take the dodgeball and protect my fellow, teammate.
That's right. That cute girl in youth group, and the ball's coming at her face, and so you dive in front and take it.
I loved you the Stego way.
I loved you the Stego way. Yes.
Yeah. But it's so much more than physical protection, and I think if we really understand the weight of this word Stego, we are not only going to be challenged, we're going to be called up, because this is not just physical. This is emotional. This is spiritual. To love someone the Stego way means you are going to do everything you can in your power to protect them from their past, protect them from their mental health, protect them from maybe even their physical health. You are going to stand in the gap, and you're going to protect them relationally.
Well, you're also going to protect them from sin, right? I mean,
right.
Paul also said in 1 Corinthians, chapter 8, he says, if what I eat causes my brother to sin, then I'll never eat meat again. Right? Because Paul wanted to love his brother the Stego way. Whatever I can do to help protect you, right? And sometimes, someone really struggles with a particular sin. How can I protect you so that you don't give into that, or so that is not a temptation for you?
Yeah.
I mean, that's another nuance of protecting. Protecting, their heart, protecting their mind.
I remember, and I hate bullies, and maybe that also goes back to my childhood, but it's a really big trigger for me. When people are bullied, mistreated, it really yanks my chain. And bullying doesn't have to be physical, right? I think going to college, I realized just how sometimes evil girls can be with gossip, how slander and mistreating and tearing down someone's name is so much worse, I think, than perhaps a physical beating. But I remember I was in college and there was these people talking, and to be fair, this person was kind of out there. This person was kind of odd, and there probably was some mental health issues that weren't diagnosed. But I remember that this guy was on my hall, and my classmates, we're all peers. We all have the same degree, right? So we're all for 4 years together, basically all 4 years. And they were talking badly about this kind of odd guy. And I remember, so we talked about the Stego love, and I was like, should I say something? Like, I don't really know this group of people, but I'm also like one of the leaders, for this class. So what should I say? And someone walked up to them, not me, and God bless this lady. She goes, "Hey guys, we're talking about Stego love, as a class, and what you're doing is so wrong. You're gossiping about this guy, and so I'm gonna love him the Stego way and protect him. He's not all these things. You guys should stop talking." And this girl didn't even know this dude. She just heard people, her peers, gossiping and not protecting the name and the
reputation.
Right, the reputation of this guy. And that just hit me like, wow, that was Stego love in action. And guess what? That one girl that spoke up and protected that guy, the other girls, it was a clear, wow, forget you. You're never going to be our friend kind of vibe. And this one girl, because she chose to love this guy she didn't know, who was super weird and really kind of smelly, she lost those friendships with those girls. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wow, sometimes the Stego love will cost you. In fact, I would say to love God's way, real love, real Stego love, will probably always put you at risk of some type of hurt.
Yeah, and this kind of love these are all nuances of agape love, right? Mm-hmm. These are all the ways agape loves.
Yep.
And so it is always costly. To love always costs something. For Jesus to love us in a way that is right and for us, and for Jesus to love the Stego way is costly. Mm-hmm. Romans, he says, while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. I mean, that there's, rarely will anyone die for a good person, but to give of yourself to protect, to protect someone's physically, to protect their reputation, to protect their heart, to help protect them, sometimes to protect someone from themselves.
Yeah.
It is very, very hard. And this is where this whole context of love, 1 Corinthians, is for the other, mm-hmm. right? It's not for myself. Mm-hmm. And so this really is one of those words, descriptions that really sets the burden. If I'm going to be a loving person, this has to be a part of my love matrix, my mm-hmm. love makeup, that I'm going to love the Stego way. I'm going to desire to protect people around me from, verbal, emotional, spiritual protection.
Yeah, and that's such a great point too, Puma, because I think the Stego love, you're right, emotional. Most, and I'm just going to get a little soapbox, but dating in the Christian world, I'm not here to call out the entire Christian church, but there are a lot of people in the Christian world, and I quote Christian world, go to churches, who do not love the Stego way. And I have been in the wake of these poor Christian girls getting wrecked and emotionally used because these, quote, godly men are not loving the Stego way. Oh, you got baggage? Oh, you've got some PTSD? Oh, you have anxiety? Oh, you have depression? And they will just, instead of lowering themselves and protecting them, like, hey, you know what? I see you. I'm going to make you feel safe and secure. I'm going to take, your weird emotional highs and lows because I love you. Instead, they exploit them. Well, you got to fix yourself. I mean, I'm in the relationship and you bring all this into the relationship, and they make the lady or the person with the emotional past, and instead of protecting them, they protect themselves and attack them. They make them feel more stupid or more unworthy because of their past, and that is not loving the Stego way.
Yeah. Well, and this is what Paul also wrote, right, in Ephesians chapter 5, just the whole issue of marriage. Jesus says, as I have loved the church, so husbands need to love their wives. And Christ laid his life down for the church. Yeah. So a husband, a godly man who desires to be married, and for all of us men, to have this desire that because if you're going to enter into marriage, you are saying, I'm willing to lay my life down to love this woman, to cherish her, to protect her. And honestly, that goes contrary to every cell in our bodies, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
we want to protect ourselves.
we want to protect ourselves. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. I mean, and so we need God's help to do this. And this is something too with all, I mean, we haven't mentioned this a whole lot in these podcasts, but this is what love looks like. This is the heart of God. This is what Jesus modeled for us, love in 1 Corinthians 13. But we need God's help to do it. I mean, this is what John wrote in 1 John 4. We love not because of us, but because He loved us first. Our love for others, right? Our obligation to love one another is a direct reflection of the love that we've experienced. In Christ. And so this is really a reflection of our relationship with Jesus to love this way. That's why Paul's telling the church, Corinthian church, you guys say you claim Jesus. This is how to love each other because of the love that Jesus has for you.
Right. Yeah. We can't give what we don't have.
Right.
And if love comes from God and all who love are born of God and know God, shouldn't this be like, okay, what did our rabbi do? He loved us. He loved us to stay away and protected us. And I just think for relationships, and maybe it's a youth ministry thing, maybe it's because I live with, and work with a lot of young adult Christians, but wouldn't it be amazing if in a relationship, someone's like, hey, instead of reminding you of your weakness, I'm going to give you my strength. Instead of pushing you down for your past or your hurt, I'm going to protect you. And I'm going to extend my strength to you even if I take the hit because of your past or your hurt. I mean, wouldn't that be incredible? Doesn't every person just want a relationship where the person's like, hey, I see you and you're weak, and I'm not going to judge you for it. Let me pick you up. Let me give you my strength instead of reminding you of how bad you have been or still are. And there's another twofold here too for Stego love, which really spoke to me. If love protects the relationship, that means they don't bring bad things in. And so let me ask this question. Am I smuggling sins into a relationship? I mean, are we hiding stuff?
So being a sin smuggler?
A sin smuggler.
A sin smuggler.
We do it. Don't we do that though? And I find myself like,
that's
wow.
not the Stego way.
That's not the Stego way.
That is not.
And here's why. When we smuggle secret sins, when we hide things and put them in a relationship, that hurts our spouse, even if they aren't aware of it. Smuggling sin, hiding sin is not protecting the relationship, which means when we are secretly, whether it's bringing in or just privately, it just affects me. It's just my sin. It's my anger. It's my bitterness. It's my whatever. That actually is not the Stego way, because all sin has collateral, especially in relationships.
Well, and that goes back to all the previous podcasts, right? I mean, the previous one, love, does not delight in evil, rejoices in the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, these are more nuances of that. I mean, when it says love is patient or love is kind, all these descriptions. Love is not proud. It's not self-seeking, not easily angered, and doesn't keep a record of wrongs. I mean, all these are all interconnected with each other, and so to always protect, to protect you, I'm not going to be rude. To protect you, I'm going to show kindness. To protect you, I'm going to be patient with you. To protect you, I'm not going to keep a record of wrongs. To protect you, I'm not going to be self-seeking. To protect you, I'm not going to be easily angered. I mean, these all, to protect you, I'm not going to rejoice in evil, but I'm going to rejoice in what is true. I mean, we could do that with all of these descriptions, because they all, in a sense, are nuanced in each other. But they're all sides of this agape love that we're called to exhibit.
Yeah. When I just think of Jesus, right, with a perfect example. I mean, literally perfect example. But what did he do? I think of the greatest commandment, right? So he goes to John 15, where he says, "There's a new commandment I give you," right? Love one another as I have loved you. And then chapter 13, what does Jesus do? How did he protect his disciples? What did he model? What did he do to love them? He washed their feet. And he washed Judas's feet. And I just, to me,
he washed feet.
Period. Right. Well, I just think of, how was that Stego? How was he protecting them? He could have called them to wash his own. He could have honored himself. He chose to honor them. And real Stego love is I'm going to live in such a way where I honor the other person, where I stand in the gap. And even if I get, dirt and crud on my hands by washing your feet, it is a way that I can love you. And I'm going to always protect you. I mean, I think of some of their being the disciples. I don't know what their pasts were exactly. I don't know what, emotional state they were in. But to have someone you idolize, to have their rabbi honor them, all of their fears, I'm not worthy enough. All of their, I'm just a dumb fisherman. And here we have this amazing Jesus who is my friend, who calls me friend. He just calls me friend and is washing my feet. All of their insecurities instantly gone because he showed them, this is how you love. To me, that was one of the most protecting, loving things. Am I worthy? Jesus says I am. And I don't know. I mean, I know that there's some of the different stories and different miracles. We see some of the disciples, shortcomings and fears. But to me, I think that was just reinstating, not just, okay, serve one another, because I've served you and loved you, but you're worthy for me to wash your feet. And I imagine there was a lot of insecurity with the disciples. Oh, well, it can't be Jesus. I mean, he's awesome. Why I'm a dumb fisherman, can't even read and write. And yet I have been so honored. That is how Jesus protected their emotional. You are worthy. Mm-hmm. You're right. And Puma, I want to love that way. I wish people loved me that way. But are we willing to risk that?
To love the Stego way. Yeah, it's there's a lot. We could spend a lot of time here just kind of thinking this through.
Yeah.
In all the different situations. I live in a house. I have younger siblings. Say I'm a girl and I have a younger sister. How can I love and protect her? Right. Mm-hmm. I'm a guy. Right. I have a wife and family. How can I protect them? Mm-hmm. I'm a mother. How can I protect my kids? How can I stand in the gap there? We have a friend, a coworker who is hurting. How can we protect them? In our church family, look around. Who is it in our church family that, has, emotionally vulnerable or spiritually vulnerable? How can we protect each other? If we spent all our time protecting each other, we'd all be protected.
Yeah. And that's a great point. And this isn't like a cage where you're like, oh no, I'm going to offend you. Because sometimes to protect someone, they have to get offended, right? This isn't like some, PC, we can't make anybody offended. We have to make everyone happy. But there is a sense of, to protect you, I'm not going to use you or let myself have an excuse to not love you.
Right. Well, we've talked about this too in the past, but sometimes to protect you means I have to say no.
Yeah. Right.
Sometimes protect you is to not give you what you want.
Right.
So sometimes protect you is to not go where you want to go. Mm-hmm. So, there's all kinds of ways. So what's a good AQ, Tory?
Oh man, a good AQ.
There's many. Hopefully, as we listen, we're also thinking about how does this apply in my personal situation?
Right.
Because every situation is different, but we all are in situations where people around us. Just think about our own life. How would I like to be protected? How do I wish others would have protected me? Mm-hmm. In the past. How can I have that kind of Christ-like Stego love to protect those around me? So
Puma, that's actually a first part exactly what I was thinking for AQ. Like, first, look at yourself. How would I like to be protected? Man, I wish they wouldn't gossip about me. Man, I wish that they wouldn't point out my insecurity. And I'll just say, when we think about that, how would we want to be protected the Stego way? And then for this second part of the AQ, who is it in your life that needs Stego love? And what can you do to protect them? And that's hard. You know, I want to ask you guys to think about that. Who in your life? God's put people in your life. Maybe it's family, coworkers. Maybe it's church member. Maybe it's your spouse. But who in your life needs some protection? Who needs some Stego love? And how can you, again, through the help of the Holy Spirit, God's way, real love, how can you love them that way? Because real love always Stegos. They love the Stego way. And it is hard. Maybe you'll have to take the hit. Maybe you'll have to stand in the gap, and maybe you might take the hit from the person you're trying to love. I mean, maybe you'll have to, and the best marriage advice was what you gave me. You said, no matter what happens in your marriage, no matter what, your wonderful wife does or doesn't do, to be a man, to love her, just take the hit, even if you're right. Because that kind of support and security will help her flourish and thrive. And sometimes you just got to take the hit. And that's Stego love. And that's really hard. Our culture screams, fight for yourself, protect yourself. In fact, use people to protect yourself. And yet that's not what God calls us to. So think of how would you like to be loved the Stego way? And then in turn, who in your life can you protect? Who needs protection? And how can you love them the Stego way?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And I just love God's word. It's so great. It's so challenging, but it's so great because
and also Stego's a fun word to say.
It is fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
It just kind of rolls off the
It's
tongue.
like a Stegosaurus. I think of actually that was our mascot for that year. Doesn't matter. But yeah, Stego's a fun word. And so guys, thank you for joining us. I want to challenge you guys, challenge us to love the Stego way. And even like in this kind of political heated, climate right now, we can disagree politically, but still love unconditionally. And let's not let politics be another thing that divides us. We can still love our brothers and sisters in Christ who disagree politically. We can Stego love them. We can love them the Stego way, even if we feel vindicated by tearing them down and exposing their weakness. That's not love, right? And like last week too, we want to rejoice in the truth. We don't want to delight in evil. So let's love the Stego way.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. If you have any questions, comments, you can email us at thepumapodcast@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Fridays at 10:10.
All right. Bye-bye.
Till then, bye.